So we're going to go into item number 7, which is the authorization to advertise the 2026 proposed budget. Callan McCreary. Want to read the background?
Thank you. The proposed operating budgets were presented by the department heads and discussed by the board at the budget work session held on October 24th. This work session was a public meeting and was properly advertised. The board previously received my memo providing details of all the funds, including each area of the general fund and the capital investment program. Staff is recommending that the Board of Supervisors authorize the proposed 2026 budget as being available for public inspection, with the adoption scheduled for the December 15th public meeting. So I would be looking for the board to make a motion to authorize that advertisement. And at this time, you would also need to make a decision about specifically the fire fund, which funds the fire department operations.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion and then we'll open it up, of course, to public comment to authorize the advertisement of the proposed 2026 budget, which is all funds as being available for public inspection, which would include 11 new hires with the fire department at a millage increase of 1.15, I believe it was.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Any public comment? Okay, seeing none.
There's comment that I received from Supervisor-elect Eric Pelletier, who asked me to read this. It says, "Good evening, members of the board. My name is Eric Pelletier, and I'm a resident of Montgomery Township and Supervisor-elect for the Board of Supervisors. I want to begin by acknowledging that the conversation around fire and emergency services is critically important. None of us dispute that call volume has increased, response times have changed, and volunteer availability has declined statewide. Ensuring that our residents are protected is a fundamental responsibility of local government, and I fully support taking steps that genuinely strengthen the safety and well-being of this community. However, I'm deeply concerned about the process by which this proposal to increase full-time firefighting staff has been advanced. When the idea of expanding full-time staffing was first raised in October of 2024, I believe, the township should have immediately authorized a truly independent third-party staffing study, the kind of objective assessment that other municipalities routinely rely on when making decisions of this magnitude. Instead, the township pursued an internal study with information that has changed numerous times, with key data points, assumptions, and conclusions shifting from one version to the next. And yet, despite these inconsistencies, some members of this board appear prepared to make a decision that will have a long-term financial impact on the township and its residents, including through a tax increase based on information that is at best incomplete and at worst fundamentally flawed. If I were in a position to vote on a proposal of this significance, particularly one that involves public safety staffing levels, infrastructure planning, and taxpayer dollars, I would not in good conscience be able to move forward based on data that continues to change in advance of each meeting. A decision of this scale must be defensible, both to the public and to future boards. As it stands, this decision would not be defensible. We all want the same outcome, a department that is properly staffed, properly equipped, and able to protect our community. But the process matters, and right now, the process is not sound. Therefore, I respectfully urge the board to table this proposal until the next budget cycle. Use that time to commission a comprehensive, independent staffing and facilities study, one that evaluates current and projected needs, compares regional models, examines facility requirements, and provides a clear rationale for any long-term staffing recommendations. Only with accurate, objective, and consistent information can the board make a decision that is responsible, defensible, and worthy of the residents you serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric, for Eric Slater.
Like to second Eric's comments. We've gone all over the place. Started at 19, down to 5, 7, 11. The numbers have bounced all over the place. And quite honestly, I don't know that anybody in the public really knows what the numbers are and that anybody can defend them wholeheartedly by showing what the calculations were for overtime, for all the equipment, and where that's going to lead to the future. So my recommendation is that it does either get tabled or you take no action simply because there is nothing out there. The last thing you have is the minutes where you published 4 options and we question the numbers behind those options. There was nothing else posted to the website showing the 11th proposal. So I'm sitting here in this meeting going, what's actually on the 11th proposal? There's no paperwork anywhere for anybody to look at. And that's a disservice to the community because you're going to vote on something and the rest of us really don't know what those numbers represent. So
I think, again, correct me if I'm wrong, we're voting on advertising,
but
but we're on with a higher of 11, which you're saying numbers are not out there. Numbers would be out there.
but you're advertising something that has not been vetted through the public. You're going to basically say, this is our endorsed proposal. And you're basically just saying that and hoping that everybody's going to buy into it. And I'm not buying into it. You should put it out there, let people debate it, and then you should take an action on it rather than the other way. So thank you.
Thank you, Homer.
Hello, Jay Wachowski, Pinecrest. So my one question is, why 11? What's the numbers behind it that justify that's the right number? Is it going to make us meet response times?
So, and there has been conversation on the 11, but I'll turn it over possibly to Chief. Can you jump in or?
How did we come up with 11 now? Is it
4 shifts with 4 firefighters on a shift.
okay?
That's how we came up with 11.
And that will give us what response time?
Well, hopefully, it will hopefully duplicate the response time that the career staff has shown effective.
Is that 9 minutes?
No, it's 4 minutes and 35 seconds.
So we'll be 4 minutes across the board now with 11.
I would hope so. I mean, they'll probably be a little bit different at night. Maybe a 30-second difference depending if they're in their bunks when the call comes out. But 11 is the number that we would need to hire to have 4 full-time firefighters on 4 platoons.
So 11 is we're hiring 4 more full-time, or
No, we would need to hire
11 more.
We
So
have
we'll
5. So we'd have
18 total.
16. We'd have 16 total.
Okay, I thought we had 7 already.
Well, we have 5 firefighters, a chief, and an assistant chief.
Oh, okay, so 5 firefighters plus 11 will give us 15 total.
We
No,
know
it's
it's 16 total. Divided by 4 is 4 on a shift.
Okay, so will that give us 2472?
That's correct.
All right, and you expect the response times to be the 40, well under 9.
I would hope that they would be well under 9. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
My question, I'm sorry, John Crow, 422 South Stone Ridge Drive. My question is around the whole topic is, what are the ancillary cores that no one's talked about? Extra equipment? Is the firehouse capable of accommodating these firefighters? I have a cousin who's a firefighter in Philadelphia, and I know what their accommodations are like. So I have concerns in that area that all the cash is not on the table, so to speak. Okay. And it's just something, a concern I have. I also have concerns about the numbers. I also have concerns about the process. The first I found out about it was when I got a postcard in the mail. First time, and that was, unfortunately, I had granddaughter's birthdays and stuff, so I couldn't make that meeting. So I thought I'd make this one, just lay out my concerns. It's a powerful increase for senior citizens. Okay, so ask you to dwell on it.
Thank you, John. Carla Hellensack, Lansdale. So I'd like to echo what Eric wrote. I think it's very well written, and I think it expresses the concerns of a lot of residents. Again, no one is discounting the need for a sound fire department, police department, EMS department. I think we all agree that the numbers have been, for whatever reason, all over the place, not justifiable, constantly being corrected. That is a complete disservice to the residents. I don't understand why it's taking so long to post information on the website with different scenarios. I don't understand why you don't have metrics on the website as to, okay, we're going to hire 4, and if we improve by X percent, we'll hire 4 more, or we won't hire 4 more. I think that the best option is to get a group of citizens together to help. There seems to be a small group of people putting these numbers together, but it's unfair. The tax burden to the residents is just, it's too much, especially with our aging population. So I would ask you to please take a more conservative approach. You can always raise taxes and hire more, but once you get that tax burden on people and once you hire employees, especially union, it's very difficult to reduce that. So please be considerate of the tax burden that you are about to impose on the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you, Carla.
Any other public comment?
My question. So I want to say I agree with what Eric's saying and what Carl's saying. We don't want these decisions made and then it becomes a blunder, aka the Grace Lane situation. We don't need these decisions made that just people aren't thinking through. So we need transparency and we need to make sure everything is correct before we make these decisions.
Thank you, Mike.
Any other? Okay, so we'll take a vote on this, in favor of the motion I made. In favor, yay. Aye. One.
Before I explain my vote, I want to just read a statement here. I want to begin by first expressing my sincere gratitude to our volunteer and career firefighters. Their service and professionalism are among this community's greatest strengths. And my concerns relate to the plot process and the planning around this proposal and not to the people who protect our residents every day. From the start, I've acknowledged that expanding staffing is not only a question of, it's not so much a question of if, but when. Declining volunteerism locally means that we have to plan for our future. But responsible planning requires a comprehensive independent fire study, and we do not yet have that. And because of that, I do not support committing to any permanent expansion at this time. What I can support is a 1.0 mil tax increase that would prepare us for the future without locking us into a model that we've not validated. My preference would be to allocate a portion of that 1 mil to the fire fund to establish a responsible reserve for future expansion after an independent study is complete, and then to allocate the remaining portion to the capital reserve fund. And that's going to be depleted, as we saw in the budget presentation, by the end of 2027. So we need to secure additional resources to plan effectively for that future. This approach would strengthen our long-term financial position while preserving flexibility and transparency. However, I cannot support any tax increase above 1.0 mils. A higher tax increase presupposes a specific staffing plan that has not yet been justified through independent analysis. It places a permanent burden on taxpayers, especially those on fixed incomes, without the supporting data that such a generational and permanent decision requires. If the board chooses a scenario above 1.0 mils, I will be a no vote. If the board will not support a portion of the millage increase to be used for the capital reserve fund, I'm a no vote. And to our residents, I want to make this very clear. Tonight will not be the final word. The second-class township code allows the new board, beginning in January, to reopen the budget. And I fully intend to move for that so that we can commission a proper fire study to make an informed, defensible decision on staffing and capital planning. Once again, to our firefighters, I want to say thank you. My goal is to support you in a way that is sustainable, transparent, and worthy of the trust that this community places in all of us.
Yeah, I do think it's worthy of mentioning that we were presented with this over a year ago, and you know, uh, it has continued to be the issue of how do you price safety? What price do you put on safety? Numbers did show that we had an issue within our township, and so our chief, with his wisdom and conversation with community and conversation with his leader and leaders of his organization, it was discussed and talked about what the staffing and also reaching out to his counterparts and reaching out to other municipalities. It was discussed on what made sense from a staffing perspective. And so Chief did come to us with the 19. And so folks are asking, which there has been conversation around the other numbers. To be quite honest, I thought that, it should be 5 on a truck. The minimum is 4. So we brought it down to taking into consideration the community and the tax burden for all of us as well. So, this was not done in a bubble. This was by no means done in a bubble. And, it's one of those things that I pray we continue to stay safe while we still, figure this out. We have been fortunate, and I'm thankful for that. I'm prayerful that that'll continue to be the case while we continue to work through what Ms. Bamford clearly states she plans on doing. So that's all I have to say about it. And your nay and Beth.
So I will ditto what Miss Bamford said and what Eric has already said via letter. He was not able to be here because he's not feeling well. I feel as if my confidence is not where it should be. I feel as if I had someone if there was a independent consultant that could come in and show us these are the scenarios, and we're making assumptions here that are very limited. So I took it upon myself to, let me see what the interwebs say about fire studies. Well, interestingly, the 2472 was not something that was even in the mix. So I'm thinking, well, why are we even considering something that is not even mentioned as one of the 4 or 5, 6 best things out there? I'm not saying it's not there. I'm not negating that. And I want what is best for our firefighters and for our community safety. But we also have to have balance on what is protecting our community and how are we protecting our firefighters and what they are doing as a service to our community. Mm-hmm. To do so, I feel as if we need to really iron this out, have solid numbers, have a greater understanding to our community, to our taxpayers, so we're not putting them into something where someone today said to me, Beth, this is a bell that can't be unrung. If you ring this bell, you can't unring it. So we have to be sure of what we're doing. And so I'm a no vote on this because I have grave concerns about where we are going. The information is out there. I feel as if it's not consistent and my confidence is not where I can really defend that to people who would want to call me and ask me, why did you do that? Why are you doing this to me? And we understand the safety is paramount. And we do have sincere gratitude for what our firefighters do. But I do think that the scenarios that have been put in front of us are making assumptions that I don't necessarily see as the only options. So let's look at what those options are, take our time on this, and if needed, we'll reopen it in January. So that's our back pocket.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've got the vote. Correct? You've got your vote?
I would just like to ask a question for the record. If budget is reopened, what is the burden on staff? What is the additional cost? Do we have any idea of any of that? Not to put you on the spot, but if that's going to happen, we'll be prepared for it.
So I can't think of any additional cost off the top of my head. The burden, if you will, is it's no different than preparing for any other meeting. I mean, it's always in the back of a manager's mind that a new board can, that's why it's put in the code the way it is, that a budget can be reopened. My bigger concern is having a budget in place by 12/31 because we're required by law. So we can't.
Yeah, we will.
We will. Well,
It will be reopened. It will be changed.
Gotta be open.
Thank you.
Okay. The and with regard to the study, I don't think anyone, well, you're saying a full comprehensive. I think the staffing piece of it, that's always been my place, that I feel that Chief has done the work from a staffing perspective. When we start looking at infrastructure and everything else, I 100% agree. Some sort of study needs to be done. I just question with doing it early, because that's one of the things he said that we didn't need to pay attention to right now, meaning that somewhere down the line, infrastructure and so forth. But if we do a study today and we don't make any moves with that for, say, 5 years, that's dated information. And so we may need to look at doing another one at that time. But I agree with a study from the standpoint of everything else pertaining to the staffing piece. And initially, we were only talking about staffing, and the staffing piece of it, the work had been done.
And I just think it's amazing that we don't want to spend an extra as residents. I will be off of the board come January. I understand that. I'm still paying my taxes here. I am a sole property owner. I have no other income coming in. An average of $25 a month. That to me is an insurance policy on my home. We spoke about sewer policies. We have different policies that are available to us. And that on one side of the coin, we're saying, oh yeah, we appreciate our firefighters. And yet we're not willing to give them what they need to help protect their properties. Shame on us.
I would say that the intent is to come up with an even better plan and do it with greater visibility than we have to date and transparency. So that's the intent moving forward. But you have your vote, so enjoy it.
And I'll be a resident in January.
Okay, moving on. Thank you, everyone, for the conversation. Item number 9, award bid for township facilities waste and single stream recyclable materials collection and disposal. Carolyn McCreary. Did I skip
Madam
something?
Chair, we skipped number
Did I skip something?
8, which is the fire tax.
Oh my goodness. Why am I totally missing that page?
Would you like me to read it?
I've got it. Thank you. Item number 8, authorization to advertise ordinance for the establishment of a fire tax. Carolyn McCreary. Thank you.
So based on the board's recent vote to include the hiring of 11 new firefighters in the fire department's budget, we would be looking at millage of an additional 1.15 mils. So this motion would authorize us to advertise the ordinance for the establishment of a fire tax. And with this ordinance, this would show up as a separate item on property owners' tax bills. Right now they have their township tax, and if there's a streetlight tax they are paying, that shows up in a separate line item. This would then as well. Then we would notify the tax collector to revise the real estate tax bills to show this as a separate line item. Currently, out of the current real estate tax of 2.94 mils, we internally allocate 0.56 mils towards fire protection. So staff is recommending that the board authorize the advertisement of this ordinance, which would be prepared by the township solicitor.
So with the 0.56 that's currently allocated to fire, that'll move also to its own line item plus.
Yes, it would.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, I make a motion. I'm sorry.
Can I ask, is this something that other municipalities have done to separate out their fire tax?
Yes, if the municipality knows that they want to increase millage for the purpose of fire or EMS, which is actually a separate millage that could be established as well, in order to give the public the confidence that the money is actually being used for those purposes. It can only be used for those purposes.
Yeah.
And that's why a municipality would establish that tax. Once it's established by the ordinance, hopefully we do an ordinance each year, but to establish it as a new type set aside of the tax, it's what municipalities would do if they want to make sure the money's allocated to that.
Okay, good. Sounds good.
Okay, I found it.
Madam Chair, there's a question from the
Oh,
public.
I'm sorry.
I just have one quick question. I didn't understand what the millage increase was.
Well, the proposed is 1.15.
Is that on top of anything that exists or what?
No, that's the increase we're looking at.
Thank you.
Kelly Lizardo, 119 Embassy Drive. Can you please clarify what the total fire tax will be? My understanding is it's 1.15 plus the existing 0.56 mils that are going towards fire right now.
I'm sorry.
That's correct.
Thank you. So it'll be a total of 1.71 mils for fire.
Right.
Thank you.
Oh, he asked what the increase was for, I believe you
for
asked
the-
for the increase. Oh, total of everything.
So,
Okay.
so again, it's a
1.71. So that's the existing 0.5, and then the potential increase.
Homer Lozardo again. Just asking a clarification. So if you put the tax in place, then that means no money from the general funds will be reallocated to the fire department in the future. Is that correct?
well, the existing 0.56, which is being used for the fire department through the general funds, would be
Which is the question we asked before. Is it just going to be a 1.15 is the tax and you're still going to do
That we're gonna-
0.56?
my understanding is we're going to bring over the money that's already in the general fund.
Allocated to the fire.
Out that could be taken away, could be used for anything else. It's in the general fund right now. It's used at 0.56 for those fire services.
But that's an allocated.
That's going to be moved over. That's going to be moved over. So it's not going to be an increase. It's just going to be moved
Right.
over
That's a 1.71.
into that
tax bill.
1.71. So that 0.56 and the new increase of the 1.15 would be what would be shown on your tax bill going towards fire services.
Okay, in that case, then I think it needs to be redone from a tax standpoint that you move all the funds directly in and the tax covers the 0.56 plus the 1.15. So you know exactly what you're getting. In that case, now you can keep the general fund totally separate from everything else in the fire department. And that way it becomes a very clear indication that you're not taking money and moving it around all over the place to the people in the public. So if you're going to advertise it, it's not clear from what was presented in the sample letter what the number will be and whether it was going to include that existing 0.56. So let's be clear.
The ordinance will be advertised at 1.71 for the fire tax services.
Okay, thanks
for
for
the special
clarifying.
mills just for those fire tax services.
Okay, thank you.
So this is not a budget specific ordinance advertisement, right? This is an ordinance that would go into effect prior to 2026. Is that what you're saying? If we were to
This-
advertise
This ordinance would establish
the fire tax.
the fire tax, which would be effective, but the fire tax wouldn't be effective till 2026. If there was a desire to then amend that millage, you could also then amend that down easily,
Okay.
with any reopening of the budget.
With the reopening of the budget.
Correct.
Thank you.
This is we're creating an ordinance just to create that fire
The
tax
fire
line
tax.
item, just to have its
Right,
own line item. That's what this is that we're talking about right this second.
which I think fundamentally is
Makes
a
sense.
good thing.
Makes perfect sense.
Kelly Lizardo again. What other possible line items could exist in our township taxes? I've heard streetlights. I've heard fire. I could tell you were looking something up. Thank you.
I think library can be a separate line item.
Okay. Police services cannot.
Now, EMS can, there's a state law for EMS and fire that allows us to put so much millage into those specific purposes.
Is there a maximum on fire services by state law?
Yes.
What is that, please?
In Montgomery County, it would be 10 mills. Now, that's not the same as every other county right now. It's only Montgomery, Bucks, and Delaware County that are able to take advantage of that. And I believe it's 5
For EMS.
free EMS services, which would be a separate line. The second class township code also would provide different line items for sort of park and recreations, maintaining fire hydrants, more specific fire suppression employee salaries only, and then additionally, emergency services, as was mentioned, library taxes, but there are a number of itemized taxes that could be imposed through different codes.
Okay. Thank you.
Open space is something that would have to take a referendum vote on for an open space tax. Some municipalities have that as well.
Thank you.
This open space.
Motion to authorize the advertisement of an ordinance establishing a fire tax in the township.
Second.
Any additional public comment? So this is just establishing the line item for fire tax.
Well, I think we are
But
going to
the-
need
we
to.
talk-
We're going to need to have a rate. Yep. We are going to need to have a rate with the initial tax as well. So as the manager said, that if there was a majority vote for the 11 new hires, which would require that 1.15 millage increase. So
Right.
that 1.15 millage increase together
0.56.
plus the
Plus the
0.56 would be an initial fee of 1.71
Right.
for the initial ordinance to be advertised.
Oh, okay. You got to put a figure in. Gotcha. Okay.
So we should vote on it.
Making a vote.
So this is, I'm a no vote for this. I think this, the fire tax is smart. My no is about the 1.71. So it's a no for me.
Likewise, I approve of the idea of a fire tax, but I don't approve of the actual number in the fire tax. So I will be a no vote on this as well.
Okay, and I'm a yes vote.
I'm going to be a yes vote, and I'll just quickly say why. Bill started out with the plan of 19. I asked for a compromise. What is the minimum that he could work with and make his plan work and allow the new hires and the current hires to have that mental health schedule that keeps everyone safe. I want these people that are going to come to my house if I'm having a heart attack, house on fire, anything, carbon monoxide. I want them to have the mental health that everyone really needs to have, especially in that profession. I'm a yes for that. I'm a yes for that, for just to keep everyone safe and healthy.
And I'm a yes, because this establishes the line item for the fire tax. Our solicitor's already indicated this will be advertised, and if it needs to be reduced, because as Ms. Bamford's already promised, she's reopening this. If that goes down, then that can easily be done. This is establishing that line item that we will see in our taxes, so we know what is going towards fire. So that's why I'm a yes vote.